The very hello to you, my precious. My name is Anna Kimova. I'm the citizen of Moscow, where I was born 37 years ago. Today I have prepared for you first video on my channel, Introduction into Russia. If you are interested in finding out what does Russia look like, what are Russian people like, how they live, how they think, then you reach the right place. For better understanding the matter, it's time to use the favorite Russian proverb, it's better to see once than to hear 100 times. Let's start to see. Another one thing I want to say, Russia is too huge to be fully understood at the first attempt, or the 10th attempt. It consists of 85 regions, each of which is so distinctive and authentic that it's simply impossible to talk about universal concept of understanding Russia and Russians for foreign thinking. For example, the European Union currently consists of 27 countries, the United States of 50 states, China of 34 territorial units, India of 36, and Russia has united 85 regions, more than 190 people under its roof, in which Russians make up only 80%. That means that 20% are different nationalities. This is difficult for foreigners to understand, because the real realization of this fact is possible only when you have been living in the most multinational country in the world for centuries. Nevertheless, this is where you should start your understanding of Russia as a country. Nowadays, people of any country has a great opportunity to learn a lot of new things that were previously unavailable. And I suggest to use the easiest way for this. It is the visual path. And I decided to start our introduction into Russia with its beautiful capital, Moscow. And the best place for the first video is, of course, Red Square. Today we will try to show you it, as you have never seen it before, to give you the opportunity to realize the full scale of the greatness of this place and its incomparable beauty, because those trials that we will pass today are available for visits and everyone can repeat it. So now we are standing near Borovitskaya Square, one of the central squares of Moscow, in front of the Borovitsky Gate of the Kremlin, between the Bolshoi Kamenny Bridge, which means Big Stony Bridge, and Manege, Volkhonka, Makhovaya, and Znamenka streets, which are running from this point. This place is special, and there is a reason why I choose it for the very beginning of our trip. On the opposite side, you can see the Pashkov house, built in the Classicism style between 1784–1786. There are some mystical moods around this building, which were especially strongly warmed up by Mikhail Bulgakov in his novel The Master and Margarita. Pashkov's house became a meeting place for Voland, Azazella, and Levi Matvey. From its roof, Voland, hidden from the eyes of passers-by by the balustrade with plaster vases, viewed Moscow before leaving it forever. As the spirit of evil left us, we may start our walking right from here, from the place where the monument to Vladimir the Great, the Baptist of Russia, is situated. It was erected by initiative of the Russian Military Historical Society and the city government. The opening ceremony took place on November 4, 2016. Vladimir Sviatoslavovich was born and ruled on a joint of the first and second millennia. He became the Prince of Novgorod in 969, was the Grand Duke of Kiev from 978 to 1015. During his reign, the Baptist of Russia took place. Let's start. So now we are in the Alexander Garden. It consists of three parts. The first part, the lower garden, runs straight from the Borovitskaya Tower, which is now under reconstruction, and that direction right to the Moscow River embankment. And there, to the left, right to the Vodovzvodная Tower. The Vodovzvodная Tower took its name in 17th century, and it means water erase tower. That is because in the 17th century there was the water lifting machine situated over there, which helped to take the water from the Moscow River right to the Kremlin. Now we are in the middle part of the Alexander Park, which goes from the Borovitskaya Tower to that construction. The name of it is Troitsky Most, which goes to the Troitsky Tower. Let's look at them. We are still in the middle part of the Alexander Garden, and right here you can see the monument of the Emperor Alexander I. To his honor, this park was named. It was erected in 2014, and in front of this monument you can see the bas relief which depicted Battle of Borodino, the commanders of Great Patriotic War 1812, and also hero monk Serafim of Sarov, who is one of the main figures of Russian Orthodox Church. Here you can see the ticket office, where you can buy the tickets to the Kremlin area, where you can see the Kremlin Armory, Tsar Pushka, Tsar Kolokol, and after buying the tickets, you must go right to the Troitsky Bridge and then straight to the Kremlin. So let's see how it works. Here is the ticket office. You can buy the ticket using the ticket office. You can see what kind of exhibitions are held in Kremlin now. Or, if you want, you can use the electronic terminal. Here you can choose the language. First you can look at the information. The first block is the ticket for visiting the architectural ensemble of the Cathedral Square. And the second block is the temporary exhibition. During from 13th of May to 14th of August 2022, this is the duel from trial to combat to a noble crime. So let's see. Let's see the complex of the Cathedral Square. You can choose the time. Let's say 12 o'clock. 378 pieces are available for now. You can choose it and play by card or maybe using cash. So here is the Troitsky Bridge. This is one of the oldest bridges in Moscow and the only one which has survived nowadays. It connects Kutafya Tower with the Troitskaya Tower, and Troitskaya Tower also has the travel gate. And this is the place, I mean the Troitsky Most, where all the excursions to the Kremlin area are started. Here you can see the Kremlin Regiment, the soldiers of the Honor Guard. They finished their duty for the day. The touching moment we saw. So now we are in the upper park of the Alexander Garden. It comes from Troitskaya Tower and right to the Revolution Square. And in here you can see the obelisk of the 300th anniversary of the Romanov house. And in the back of it, you can see the Italian grotto. This is the decorative monument of the destruction of Moscow of 1812. During the construction, the fragments of the destroyed by the French troops buildings were used. You can see them over right at the half circle. So let's continue our trip along the upper garden of the Alexander Garden. And here is the great memorial complex for the Great Patriotic War during 1941-1945. This complex consists of three parts: the steels of the military glory of the cities, the hero cities, and the grave of the unknown soldier with the internal flame. Let's see closer. This is the grave of the unknown soldier, where the remains of the Red Army soldiers who died in 1941 during the Moscow battle has reburied. The honor duty soldiers who changed just a few minutes ago, and we had an opportunity to take it. We finished our trip along the Alexander Garden, and now here is the new district, Manege Square, historical museum. You can see the flags. Soon, in a few days, it will be the great celebration, the Day of Russia. Here we are. Now I'm standing in the queue to the museum complex on that area where the Vladimir Lenin mausoleum is situated, and also the necropolis where the state and military figures were buried. But don't be afraid. This is a long queue, but we are standing, I think, not more than 5 minutes, and we are almost in the head of this queue. So soon we will continue our observation. Historical Museum, Nikolskaya Tower. We'll talk about it a little bit later. So this is the Kremlin wall, and right here on the base of it there is the necropolis where the great Soviet Party figures, leaders, the participants of 1917 October Revolution were buried. Let's see closer. Look at this. The sign is the internal memory of the heroes of the revolution who felt with the struggle for the Soviet power. Here is the necropolis of the main leaders, of the main figures of the Soviet power. Chernenko, Буденный, Ворошилов, Жданов, Frunze. In front of you can see the picturesque view to the Spasskaya Tower. I think in 40 minutes there will be a very melodic soundtrack. Брежнев, Дзержинский, Андропов, Калинин, Иосиф Виссарионович Сталин, Михаил Андреевич Суслов. This is my favorite tower of the Kremlin wall, Nikolskaya Tower. And this is Senatskaya Tower, Senate Tower. I just told you about my favorite tower, Nikolskaya. And what's about my favorite St. Basil Cathedral? This is the best example of the Russian historical building. In my back, you can see the main entrance to the Vladimir Lenin mausoleum. You can reach all this area for free. There is no ticket in there. You just stay in queue and then you can walk along and watch everything for free. But you cannot have any video inside. So now we are standing at the Red Square. This is the main square of the city. It is paved with a paving Crimean Gabardea base. The first mention of this name, Krasная площадь, was announced in the documents in 1661. And here is my favorite cathedral, St. Basil's Cathedral. You can see that there is the central chapel, central church, which combines 11 churches around itself. This is the example of Russian Orthodox architecture. The main chapel, named after intercession of the Virgin. This object was built in the middle of the 16th century. This is the central place, ancient scaffold. It's one of the ancient objects on the Red Square. It's dating middle of 16th century, somewhere near Ivan the Terrible. So, now we just left St. Basil's Cathedral And we decided to go through the main department store right to the Nikolskaya Street. And this is the main department store. This is a very interesting place. And if you want, we can make a separate film about this department store. Please write your comments about it. So we walked along GUM, the main department store in Moscow. From that side of the Red Square, you can still see the Nikolskaya Tower. You can see one side of historical museum. You can see the Kazan Cathedral over there. And this is the Nikolskaya Street, where we keep on going. And we will make a little semicircle, and then we'll be back to the main gate of Moscow, and we'll see another part of Площадь Революции and Манежная площадь. Let's go. So here from Nikolskaya, we will dive in this arc, and we will come right here on a corner, right to the Площадь Революции. I mean the Revolution Square. Look, it's very short way. Here is the Revolution Square, and this is the one of the left fragments of Kitai Gorod stand, the wall of the ancient Kitai Gorod. So here on the Revolution Square, you can see different parts of Moskovsky сезоны time. This is Moscow seasons, some kind of recreation for people where they can walk along and do some things. It's very interesting over there. This is the part of Moscow seasons. The infrastructure right in the heart of Moscow. As you know, we just left the Red Square, and here is the Revolution Square, the center of Moscow. It's the heart of Moscow. And you can see that in here, people can go in for sport. There is a section for skateboarders, rollers, some other sportsmen who can take some sport events right in the heart of Russian Federation. This is awesome, I think. Over there you can see the garden, the forest in a mini version. And over there you can see some kind of other recreations. And this is our new Russian car. It is designed and produced in Russia. So we keep on moving straight through the Revolution Square to the Bolshoi Theater. You can see it. It is closer and closer to us. And also you can see the excursion bus, the red bus, where you can pay the excursion over Moscow city. This is the monument to Karl Marx. And also you can see in all his beauty Metropole Hotel with its impossible for understanding frontal pictures made of enamel by Mikhail Rubin. And this is TSUM Central Department Store. the second after GUM, main department store. Now we will walk along the Охотный ряд street. As you can see, here is the State Duma. It is on the right hand, and on the left hand is the Moscow Hotel. Now we are keeping walking to Manege Square and the metro station Охотный ряд. This is the first entrance of this metro station, and there is the second, where we are going now. So here is the corner of Mokhovaya and Tverskaya streets, and here is the beginning of Manege Square, where we are going now. Now I'm standing here in the Revolution Square again, and right on my back there are the main gates of Moscow, Resurrection Gate. They separate two buildings. The first is State Historical Museum, and the second is the Museum of Patriotic War of 1812. Let's talk a little more about State Historical Museum. It is the main national historical museum in Russia. The modern State Historical Museum has more than 5 million items of storage and 14 million of sheets of historical documents.
In one of the rooms of State Historical Museum, the scene of meeting of two brothers in a cult cinema by Alexei Balabanov, Brother 2, was captured. The film had a great success among viewers in Russia and influenced the cinema culture of the beginning of the 2000s. The actor who played the main character, named Sergei Bodrov, died during the filming of his own movie. The tragedy occurred near Vladikavkaz, in the Karmadon Gorge. The ice collapse covered the entire Karmadon Gorge with a 60-meter layer of ice and rocks in a few minutes. Rescue work continued for several months, but there were no survivors of the tragedy.
This is the mark of 0 kilometer of Russian roads. It is here near the Resurrection Gates, starting from 1996, and the Russian road mileage start from this point. The Resurrection Gate, the main gate of Moscow, as I said, they also separate two buildings. It is the Museum of War 1812. It is a building in TSUM style, which is the base of all of the style of Площадь Революции, Revolution Square. This is one of the main elements of the architecture of the whole square. So we just passed through the Resurrection Gate, and here on the left side there is the artillery yard. This is the only one example of the Baroque style which is left in Moscow. It is opened only when the weather is good, starting from, as I remember, 9 or 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. And also in this artillery yard, you can see the Mint building. We know exactly that there are very interesting excursions held over there, but you need to gather some people in group, not to have a very expensive entrance. Now I'm standing here, right on the Manege Square, and this is the last square for today I want to show you. In 1993, traffic jam over here was stopped for building up this underground shopping mall named Охотный ряд. It was ready by the 1997, right to the day of 850th anniversary of Moscow. Let's walk along Manежная площадь and look through its sightseeings. It's very beautiful. Here, from this point, you can clearly see the monument of the Marshal of Victory, Georgy Zhukov. This is the main monument of the Manежная Square, which is situated in front of State Historical Museum.
Арно-Бабаджанян – лучший город Земли. Это правда.
Manежная Square is named after this building. This is the central exhibition hall named Manege. For now, I know exactly that there is an exhibition for the founder of a music group named Cinema, Кино, Виктор Цой.
Разрешите прикурить? Теплое место на улице ждут отпечатков наших ног. Звездная пыль на сапогах. И есть чем платить, но я не хочу победы любой ценой. Я никому не хочу ставить ногу на грудь. Пожелай мне удачи.
go down the stairs over there and let's observe this authentic, fanciest cascade of fountains. And this is the main fountain. Look what a beauty it is. This is the right point where I want to end our today's trip. Here you can see the monument to the Russian Saint Patriarchs of Moscow and the whole Russia, Yermogen. Here you can see the great view to the whole Manege Square. I hope you liked our today's trip, and it would be interesting for you to know something new about Moscow and its best places to visit. I'd love to show you it. Please subscribe, give me some likes, and see you